Good morning, everyone, and welcome into episode number 7 of the Dave Talk Sports podcast. I am your host, Dave Ettinger of CBS Sports Radio Network. You join me every morning on my way home from work. It's now 6:16 in the a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here in the great city of New York. Well, unfortunately, we start on a more somber note than we normally would. Most of you probably have heard 27-year-old Los Angeles Angels pitcher Tyler Skaggs unfortunately has passed away, again at just the age of 27 years old. Tyler was recently married this past off season, and just unbelievably sad news coming out of California. It actually happened in Texas. The Los Angeles Angels were on a road trip getting ready to start a series against the Texas Rangers. So Tyler was found, reports of him being unconscious in the hotel, and he was found by himself, unfortunately passed away in his hotel room. Reports are they don't know exactly what happened, but authorities are saying that there is no signs of foul play. This is all initially. No signs of suicide, of him taking his own life. It's a story that is unfolding as we sit here today, and it just puts things in perspective. It doesn't matter who you are. Doesn't matter where you're from, how old you are, how much money you have, how much status you have. If you're an athlete, a celebrity, it doesn't matter. Sometimes you just simply don't know. We hope that we all wake up tomorrow. We all have a beautiful day with our loved ones, with our family, with our friends. But you just don't know. And again, the initial report is not letting out too many details. Again, Tyler Skaggs, just 27 years old, a Major League Baseball player, a starting pitcher, pitched on Saturday, just a couple days ago, threw 5 innings, started a game for the Angels just 2 days before we learn of his passing. And it's really sad. It's really unfortunate. Again, recently married to his wife Carly, and just regarded as a really good guy. Obviously I personally don't know him. I didn't know him, but regarded as a really, really great teammate. Apparently roomed with Mike Trout in the minor leagues. Was originally drafted in 2009 by the Angels. He was then he ended up on the Arizona Diamondbacks, where he started and made his Major League debut, I believe, and then ended up back on the Angels, and that's where he spent the rest of his career. And again, was on the mound as recently as Saturday. And we, as we get more details, if it's tomorrow's podcast or the following whenever we have the information, you'll hear it from me. But again, really somber, sad news, and a note to pass along today. Of course, I wish that, I had better news and better things to report here. Yesterday I was here going on a rant, right? Ranting and raving about the New York Knicks and what they did or didn't do in NBA free agency in the first day or two. And, in the grand scheme of things, none of that really matters. Of course, one of my great passions is sports. It's what I'm doing this podcast for. I'm going to talk about sports every single morning. But life is still going on all around. Outside of sports, there's good days, bad days for everybody. And, again, we don't have the full story, but just really, really sad news in the passing of Tyler Skaggs. So all our thoughts and prayers go out to his family And again, as more information comes down, I will pass it along as soon as I have it. So sticking in baseball, the Yankees and Red Sox had wrapped up their 2-game series in London. It was a very interesting, I think is the right word for that series, a 2-game set where we saw record-breaking runs and numbers of pitchers appearing in the games, and London really got a taste of Major League Baseball. It's home run or strikeout. It's all or nothing. It's what the sabermetrics tell you. It's what the analytics tell you. It's just kind of the way the game is played right now. And that's why just approximately a week away from the All-Star break, you have Christian Yelich hitting his 30th home run. You have guys like Josh Bell, who hit 3 home runs on Monday, now having 25 home runs. I mean, it's just insane what baseball is turning into. I mentioned it the other day. It's these teams carrying, 14 pitchers, and the league batting average is 251. I mean, this is what it is. Guys hit 240, 250, 260 is a good batting average nowadays. And everybody's swinging for the fence. They're learning how to hit with launch angle, and they're worried about exit velocity and all these different things. And, Major League Baseball is on a pace to break the Major League home run record again for a single season as a collective league. It's just where baseball is headed. But the big story still going on is NBA free agency. It continues. A lot of the biggest news dropped on Sunday, but as we head into Monday and now into Tuesday, you have news of Jimmy Butler finally getting his way in making his way out of Philadelphia. Philadelphia allegedly did offer him a supermax contract, which obviously he turned down, requested a sign and trade. The sign and trade reached a whole bunch of snags in the road, bumps in the road. At first they thought it was a done deal with the Mavericks, and that fell through. And then there were rumors that the Knicks would get involved and try to take on Goran Dragic's 1-year expiring contract to make the sign and trade happen. That never happened. So it actually turned into a 4-team deal. You saw not Dragic, but Hassan Whiteside leaving Miami, as well as Josh Richardson leaving Miami. So Hassan Whiteside goes from Miami to the Portland Trailblazers. This is actually a really interesting trade and part of the sign and trade, because the Blazers are not going to have the likes of Yusuf Nurkic, who had a really brutal injury last season, and Hassan Whiteside can still play. He can still give you 15 and 10 every single night. I mean, he's one of the better rebounders in the NBA. And if you saw his video, you see he's really happy to be getting out of town and heading to a playoff contender. Josh Richardson, moving to the Sixers, becomes their 5th best player. That is a hell of a starting 5. The Philadelphia 76ers are going to be a team to reckon with in the Eastern Conference, especially if Kawhi Leonard does not stick around and stay with the Toronto Raptors. Again, Kawhi Leonard was the biggest name in free agency, with Durant being injured, and we still don't know where he's going. He allegedly met with the Clippers, still needs to talk to the Lakers, still going to give the Raptors the last word. So we'll see what happens there. It's really interesting that Kawhi Leonard, a guy who really just does things his own way, everyone else is making decisions, and he was the biggest name to start, but he's still the biggest name. And I guess he'll decide when he's good and ready. Only teams like the Lakers, Clippers, and Raptors have the space to even sign him at this point. But with the Clippers really not getting much else, I mean, they were involved in that 4-team trade I was just talking about for Jimmy Butler. They didn't really do much, so it's not like they have other stars that he can now go play with. So I still think that Kawhi Leonard ends up with the Lakers, making a big 3 of LeBron James, he, and Anthony Davis. but there's that outside chance, I think, that he stays with the Raptors. But like I mentioned, this 4-team sign-and trade actually involved the Heat, the Blazers, the 76ers, and the Clippers. So, an interesting move for Jimmy Butler. Man, my apologies. Hitting bumps in the road. I hope that doesn't turn into a flat tire. A very interesting move for Jimmy Butler to want to get out of Philadelphia, which really looks like a solid team, even after they offer him the Supermax extension, and wanting to go to Miami, which doesn't look like a very good team. Sorry, just adjusting the camera right here. It's really an interesting move, and I don't get it completely, but maybe he just wants to be the absolute guy on a team, and with Joel Embiid and Ben Simmons and Al Horford and Tobias Harris, I mean, maybe he just thought there was too much company going on, and maybe he just didn't want to be part of that and wants to be the guy on his own team. I don't know. It's really interesting, but that's what happened. In other news around the sports world, you have Venus Williams in the first day in the first round of Wimbledon getting ousted by a 15-year-old, a girl who goes by the name of Coco Gauff, a 15-year-old who was actually a wild card draw just to get into Wimbledon in the first place, plays one of her idols. She said one of her idols are the Williams sisters, between Serena and Venus. And she beats Venus 6-4, 6-4 in straight sets as a 15-year-old. I mean, this girl was born March 13th of 2004, beating Venus Williams, who's now, I believe, 39 years old. Just absolutely insane. Just insane stuff from the world of Wimbledon. And you also have Naomi Osaka, who beat Serena Williams in the U.S. Open last year, and she gets ousted in the first round as well. So, a lot of interesting news and notes from the women's side of Wimbledon. Nothing really to report from the first round of the men's side. Djokovic winning in straight sets. But you still have the big three of Rafael Nadal, Roger Federer, and Novak Djokovic still playing in Wimbledon. Interesting with the seeding. Wimbledon does its own seeding. So the fact that Roger Federer was actually ranked ahead of Rafael Nadal, and they're on the same side of the bracket and will potentially have to play each other in the semifinals, and then the winner potentially playing Djokovic in the finals. Obviously, there's other players out there competing. It's a very interesting bracket that has been set up for Wimbledon. So, like I mentioned, about a week away from the All-Star break in Major League Baseball. It's it's an interesting time of the year. You have teams that are about halfway through the season. You have All-Star rosters being set. And it was interesting the way they did the All-Star, rosters this year. Like a vote, but a different election type vote that they had. Major League Baseball is always trying to change with the times, and they're trying to they're trying to make the game more interesting for people. It would be more interesting if you figured out how to shorten the games. I mean, like I mentioned, that Red Sox and Yankees trip over to London. You have 7-hour baseball games. Is that really what everybody wants to watch? Highly doubtful. But at the halfway point, I like where the Yankees look. They're getting Domingo Germán back. He's going to pitch on Wednesday in the Subway Series, pitching against Jason Vargas. And that's what we get. Right after this trip to London, you get a Subway Series between the Yankees and the Mets. Last time we saw the Mets, they actually won a game. They snapped the tremendous losing streak, which I believe had grown to 7 games, in beating the Braves 8-5 the other day. And the Yankees, again, I know I'm beating a dead horse. The Yankees need a pitcher. They need a starting pitcher. As good as they've played, as good as they are, as good as DJ LeMahieu has been, they need a starting pitcher. They're not going to go anywhere in the postseason because the postseason is different, right? In the postseason, it's all about starting pitching. It beats good hitting. right? It's the reason why the Astros won when they traded for Justin Verlander. It's the reason why the Yankees need a pitcher as good as Masahiro Tanaka is in the clutch, in the postseason. They need a pitcher better than Paxton, better than J.A. Happ. They need somebody. And I keep saying the same names over and over and over again, but get me Max Scherzer, get me Madison Bumgarner, or even get me Marcus Stroman, and I'll be happy as a Yankee fan to say that they have a real shot at a World Series this year. But I don't want them to see them waste a season because they're not willing or not able to. And I shouldn't say not willing, because Brian Cashman always makes all the phone calls, tries to make all the moves, and he doesn't leave any stone unturned. So I'm not worried about him not trying. I'm worried about a deal maybe not getting done. All right, everybody. So that's episode number 7 of the Dave Talk Sports podcast. Until tomorrow, I am your host, Dave Ettinger of the CBS Sports Radio Network. You can find my podcast on my YouTube channel, which you should definitely subscribe to, Dave Talk Sports. You could find me and follow me on Twitter at Dave Ettinger2, on my Facebook page, Dave Talk Sports, and on my website, DaveTalkSports.com. This has been fun, as always, everybody. I'm almost home, so it's time for me to head out. It's a beautiful day here in New York City, so everybody, please, it's July now. Enjoy your Tuesday in the sun. Until tomorrow, I'm Dave Ettinger on Dave Talk Sports. See you later.